Hello and welcome to Mr. C's presentation on data charts. Ooh, it doesn't sound like fun, but trust me, it's not that bad. Today we're going to learn the vocabulary words minimum, maximum, and range and how you apply them to a data chart. Okay, go ahead, ask it. You always do. Why do we care? Why are data charts important? Well, there's a couple of good reasons. We're talking about voting. You're really kind of talking about some data charts. So as big a thing as politics or as small a thing as voting on what game you want to play in your classroom, data charts can be useful. It helps us to perform experiments as well. We can kind of poll the audience, or a lot of times we can get information on demographics and things like that. So these things can be important, and there's only a couple vocabulary words that you have to learn until you kind of know them frontwards and backwards. So let's get right into it. How to use a data chart. Now, the words that you see there might be a little scary. Data chart. Data just means information, and a chart just means that it's organized somehow. Okay, so if you look around your classroom, you'll probably see some charts hanging up here or there. I'm going to give you an example of one in just a moment. I'm going to show you a chart that gives the data or the information on the number of siblings. That means brothers and sisters that some kids have. So here you go. Here's the chart. Now, if you've noticed, I have put the names of some students in one column, and then I'm going to put the number of siblings that they have in the second column. And if you notice, all good charts and all good data charts have a title, number of siblings. And really, I probably should have named this line student, right? And then number of siblings, because this is the name of my student here, and this is the number of siblings that they have. So this isn't even a really great chart, and I probably should fix it up for next time. But it's gonna serve our purposes for today. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and fill out the chart. So let's imagine that we were in the classroom, okay, and I was filling out this data chart. I would run around to each one of these kids, and I'd say, "Hey, Jenny, how many brothers and sisters do you have? How many siblings do you have?" And Jenny would say, "8. I have 8 brothers and sisters." Okay, so I'd write it down. Okay, and then I'd go to Hector and I'd say, "Hector, how many brothers and sisters do you have?" "Oh, I only have 3 brothers and sisters." Okay, no, Quindel, "Oh, I have 4. Roxana goes, "I have 3 too." All right, and Destin goes, "Me too, I also have 3. Rogelio goes, "I have 5 brothers and sisters," right? So I'm just pretending like I'm talking to these kids, right? Zamaya has 2 brothers and sisters. And then Amarani has, let's say she also has 4 brothers and sisters. Okay, so now I have a complete data chart. All right, there's a few things, there's a few vocabulary words that we have to understand, and some things that we have to find on this chart. So let's talk about the first one. We're going to talk about maximum. We're going to talk, which basically is just the most. Okay, so what number over here in our chart is the largest or the most? Or if I should say, what is the maximum number of siblings that any of these kids have? Now, sometimes the chart tries to trick you and you'd say, "Oh, Jenny has the maximum." And you'd say, "Oh, the answer is Jenny." No, the answer is not Jenny. However, it is Jenny's number that is the maximum. The maximum number is 8. Okay, it's just the most. Plug in the word most in front of the title. Most number of siblings. What's the most number of siblings? It's 8. Well, that wasn't that hard. I know, it's really not that bad. Let's check out the next word, minimum. Okay? And I just put a little kind of cheat below it. It says least. But I also want you to look at this prefix here, or the beginning of this word. It's not actually a prefix, I don't believe. Mini. You ever used the word mini before, or miniature? It just means small. Okay, so mini just means the least. So what number in our chart, or what's the least number of siblings? The minimum number of siblings is what? It's 2, right? 2 is the smallest number there. So that's it. That's the minimum. Okay? Well, that was not that hard. I know. This stuff isn't that hard. And then range is the third and final vocabulary word we're going to talk about. To find the range in a data chart, all you do is take the most, 8, right, the maximum, minus the least, the minimum, 2. So in order to find the range, actually let me change colors here, maybe it'll help. In order to find the range, all I do is say 8 minus 2 equals what? Shout it out. Yeah, 6. So the range in this data set or this data chart is 6. That was easy. Maximum most, minimum least, range, the most minus the least. That wasn't too hard, was it? All right, I'm going to have you guys try it in just a second, but first we're going to go ahead and talk about what we learned today. Well, we learned some new words, maximum, minimum, and range, and we learned that there are other words for maximum and minimum, most and least, right? Okay, cool. Let's try it. Yeah, this is going to be fun. You're going to get it to get up and move around. I want you to design a data chart that looks like the one that I had. See if you can label it a little better than I did, okay? And put your name as the first name on there, and then write down how many brothers and sisters or how many siblings you have. And then I want you to go around in your class, find 7 other kids, and ask them how many brothers and sisters they have, okay? And record their data on the chart underneath your name. So then you put their name and how many siblings they have. And then finally, I want you to find the maximum, the minimum, and the range for that data chart or that data set. Okay, see if you can do it. You can kind of just copy what I did, but you'll have different numbers because there's probably different kids in your class. Okay? I hope this helped. We're going to continue with data and data charting in the next lesson. We're going to talk about median and mode, but it's important that you practice with maximum, minimum, and range for right now, okay? So keep working and good luck.